The intended use of this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host and guests independently, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Updog Challenge Incorporated, its sponsors, or any other partnered organizations. Updog Challenge Incorporated does not guarantee the accuracy or reliability of any opinions expressed. In no way should the information provided during the Sweet Spot, an Updog podcast, be considered veterinary, medical, legal, or professional advice. At all times, the advice of your personal professional should supersede any information provided, derived, or inferred from listening to this podcast.
Ready, set, go.
Welcome to the Sweet Spot, an Updog podcast. I'm Andre Morissette.
And I am Jack Faley. We are your hosts today, and we have a special guest today. Our special guest, you may recognize Ben from a previous episode of the Sweet Spot, where he was on here to talk about his amazing disc dog deck. We might ask him a couple questions about that during this episode, but he's not here for that. What's he here for, Dre?
He's created a couple of new games for us in our so where everybody's had the opportunity to think of game ideas and submit the different game ideas. Ben has submitted two different game ideas that we're going to be reviewing and talking about today.
So Ben is here to rep and promote his games. So if you have not played his games after listening to this podcast, you will probably want to go out and beta test them with your club, which is what we're hoping with these little podcast episodes that we're doing on the different games. All right, Dre, you already started a conversation before we record. So why don't you just jump right into it, because you had a question quickly for Ben.
Yeah, so Ben, the first game that we have on our list is my favorite of the two because I texted Jack like 2 weeks ago, I have this great idea for a game. It would be like Leapfrog. And I explained the whole thing, and he's like, check submitted games, because I'm pretty sure that's still in there. So that was really the impetus for you being on today's episode. Is I love the Leapfrog game. I think it's great. So I would like to start with that one, just so we can like look over the different rules and strategies. I love it because, well, it's fun, but it has the handler move around the field in a purposeful way, which, you know, Greedy is one of my favorite games for that reason. So I just, I'm excited to hear about the Leapfrog game. So where do we want to start?
I mean, I can just talk a little bit, about it for a second, I guess. So about it for a sec while that's happening. So the game originally, I came up with it while I was talking with another member of the Minnesota Disc Dog Club about dog engagement, actually, about how their dog really likes to have play with them while they're moving through the field. So they really like the agility games for that reason, because they're, moving through the obstacles and things. And I was thinking, like, how can we kind of incorporate that field movement without necessarily having to have all of the agility obstacles out on the field? And I was thinking about this in the context of freestyle also, because, moving around the field is something that I really like to do when I'm playing freestyle. And I felt like a lot of the games that we've got in Updog so far, Greedy is like the big exception, are pretty stationary. You're pretty much in kind of one spot, throwing out to a different zones. And so Leapfrog really takes that in this really opposite way. So the way that the game works, you start in the middle sweet spot zone, and you can throw to any of these other throw zones. So they're kind of radiating out from the middle in increasing points. And there's a couple of zones which are like the four-way play zones, which
I see they're like X'd out, like, this is not four-way play, people.
Yeah, they're closed, and there's a really big reason why I wanted those ones to be closed, which I'll talk about in a sec. But when you make a catch in a zone, then that becomes your new throw zone. So you actually have to run over to that throw zone, or to that zone where you just caught the disc, and that becomes your new throw zone for your next throw. So you're kind of always doing like the rubber band effect with your dog. So you throw out your disc, and then you go join your dog, and then you throw out your disc, and then you go join your dog. And so you have this kind of, stretch and pull that's going on.
Love that. I love the moving towards your dog concept. That is just fantastic. And I can see the square out sections, it makes perfect sense because if you're sitting in the sweet spot and if that zone was open, it'd probably only be worth 1 point. So they would take that quick little 1 point throw and then they would have open to a 5 point throw without even really moving that much.
Yeah, and that's part of it. And then the other thing that I really wanted to do is kind of create a bottleneck intentionally. So you get on one half of the field and then you're sort of stuck over there and you have to either like have a strategy to get back over to the other side of the field, or you have to make a longer throw to get over to the other side of the field, because you don't necessarily have to make short throws in order to move forward. Of course you can just make one zone throws, but you could throw all the way across the field and then run all the way across the field if you wanted to. So it's kind of
Time-wise, why would we want to do that? This one is 75-second game too, right? Like greedy.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I mean,
more time.
I would say most people are not doing that from all of our play testing, but I mean, who knows? Like it's early in the games, there might be a strategy that emerges in that way. But yeah, really, it was about keeping the dogs engaged and then thinking about field movement as the kind of beginning. And then yes, 75 seconds. I thought that was more fair just because it has so much field movement, and especially for just like mobility's sake and being able to run around and get across the field and things. And that feels like a pretty good amount of time, I think.
Yeah, do they have to wait until the end to score that 5 point sweet spot? I remember reading about that, but like if you get stuck on that, like let's say you're stuck on the left-hand side of the field and you're clearing off those zones. Let's say you're standing in the 3 zone. You could throw it out to the 5, and then that'll open you out to the other side. But if that takes away your sweet spot bonus, you wouldn't want to do that, right?
Yeah. Yep. Let me. I want to remember this right because I've had different sweet spot rules in the past, so I want to make sure that I have the right sweet spot rule in my mind. Yeah. So the sweet spot that I'm running with right now is it's kind of like the 4-way play sweet spot. So you, dog, and disc in the sweet spot at the end of the time gets you the sweet spot bonus.
But you can score that 5 point zone then to get you from one side of the field to the other side of the field. You can hit the sweet spot. I actually like that better than the delayed sweet spot because that gives people more accessibility with more points and accuracy for the sweet spot. Because if they miss, let's say if they're throwing from the 3 and they come up a little bit short, they're only getting 1 point. If they're a little bit inaccurate, it's either going to be a no score or just a 1 point.
Yep.
So I really like that kind of pushing to the sweet spot 5 point zone. Can you score that zone only one time?
So for the whole game, you can score each zone only once and then it's closed. But then if you clear the board, they all become open again. And the board has already been cleared. So that is very doable in the time frame. Yep.
So they could basically like work one whole side, clear it, hit the sweet spot, work over to the other side, clear it, and then come back and hit the sweet spot again and keep going with that kind of back and forth pattern.
For sure.
As they clear the board. I like it. I really like this game.
Yeah. And then I chose the passive sweet spot. I guess that's what I'm calling it, where they have to go to the place, because I thought it's in the spirit of the game to be running and moving around the field versus getting a throw and a catch kind of like after the tee and time for a sweet spot bonus. And but it does open up an interesting sugar rush possibility for in the sweet spot at the tee and time, and then doing the same kind of sugar rush as you do in a 4-way play or something. So that's happened too, which is very exciting to watch.
Yeah, I read about that in the rules, the sugar rush possibility, which makes sense that somebody would do that. It's within the confines of the rules. Ben, I know you guys have played this a number of times, so I'm just gonna ask you what you kind of seen in terms of gameplay, because as I was reading through the rules, we have not played it yet because it's so dang hot. We haven't played any beta games because we try to end our contest by noon, and so we haven't had the time to sneak in a beta game yet. But I was thinking, so we start here, right?
Yep.
And let's just say I headed out this direction.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see people typically going 1-5, like going one and then one of these long ones,
like
or do they throw?
Yeah,
or do
so
they throw
I would say
the long. Like,
The
do they
most
go for the big point zones or do they just sort of go 1, 5, 3, 5? Like, is it just short throws or do you see long throws?
I would say usually I'm seeing short throws at the beginning. So the most typical pattern so far is starting in the sweet spot at 5, then throwing to the next
5, 3, 5.
zone, depending on which direction they want to go, which is the 1 point zone. Then usually doing a corner throw out to the 5, 3, 5, and just kind of working down that wide line on the outside edge of the field. And then this is why I think the closed zones are important, because once you've closed those 4 zones in the kind of left or right tee, then you're kind of stuck in a way. So then you either have to throw to the 1 point zone in the middle strip or back to the 5 point zone for the sweet spot. So a lot of times what happens is they'll go throw for that 5 point zone in the sweet spot, and then they'll work their way back up the other tee. So 1, 5, 3, 5. But then you're stuck again, and you have these 2 1 point zones that are open, which are kind of unsatisfying because then you've kind of locked yourself into this space where you've got to throw, two zones away for the 1, and then 2 zones away for the 1, and then you cleared the board. So there's a little bit of strategy in that of how you clear out those ones as a in the most efficient way possible, even though the higher scoring points are like a little more alluring, maybe. But I think it's just kind of a question of how far you're going to get. But I would say that like typically folks have started off with shorter throws, and then you get into these kind of longer throws and you get stuck in the middle of the field. And that was by design. That's why I wanted to close those zones so that it's not always short throws. It's not always an opportunity. You don't always only have the opportunity to do the short throws. You have to kind of get into a little bit longer throwing at some point.
But the person could essentially kind of like time warp it down the field, right? As long as
Mhm.
they're moving with the dog.
Mhm.
They can just have their
Yep.
stack and be throwing and running, throwing and running, as long as the dog is out of the zone they're throwing from as they're
Yep.
kind of doing it. They don't have to stop and wait and then run and then stop and wait and run. If they get a flow going, they can just keep it going.
Yep. As long as the catch happened in the spot that you throw from, yeah, you're good. And I guess that would be an interesting rule clarification that's probably important that I haven't come across yet, is like, when does the throw zone technically open? Like
If it's in the
because
air, nothing's happening.
right. So it probably would have to be you throw after the catch happens, so that
Yeah, because if they miss it,
yep.
you'd have to
Yep.
back up to the previous zone, even if you ran 20
Yeah,
yards
and
away.
that
That would
happens.
suck.
That definitely happens where people throw and they
And
start
run.
running
Start
with the
running.
expectation the catch is going to happen. The miss happens, and then they have to run back. That's one of the things that's actually one of the harder things as a judge, is being like, no, go back, go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say like on paper it looks kind of confusing in terms of like keeping track of like what's open and what's uh you know as a judge, as a player, what's open, what's closed, what's still scoreable. But when you're playing it, it's super intuitive. I've actually only ever found it to be the only thing that's thrown people off a little bit is having the closed four-way play zones. But because they're the four-way play zones, you can just say like, don't throw for the four-way play zones, and then that pretty much takes care of that issue. So
You could probably just put you could put a cone in the middle or something, right?
for
Like
sure,
you could, because technically you really shouldn't be running through those zones. Well, you could run
you
through
can
the
run
zone,
Put
I
a
through.
low
guess. Yeah.
cone. Yeah, just
Yeah.
put low cone in the middle so that you
Yeah.
know that you don't throw to those ones. And that way, if the dog lands on it, they're not landing on a pokey thing.
Yep, totally. Yeah. And I think that's a good idea. Just put like a red low cone or something in there.
Have you guys seen the new cones that they have that are completely flat? It's
Mm-mm.
basically just a disc.
Oh, just like
It,
a silicone disc thing.
it's
Huh.
like a silicone disc thing that like it's pretty weighty.
Yeah.
And it's totally completely flat.
Yeah, that'd be great for that. Yeah, I haven't seen those, but we have been using those short stubby little brush things to mark out the
Oh yeah,
field.
yeah.
Those are
Yes, yeah.
really great at the intersections.
I
Yeah.
really like your achievements too. They're super cute. Froggy Five, Lily Pad, Flycatcher, Long Tongue, Leap Goat, Lotus Flower, and Toad on the Road is all rollers, which is really funny. They're really cute achievement names.
Yeah. uh, One thing
So
for
has
this, if you're gonna beta test it, in the beta test folder, I've added a couple of other things in there for folks. I don't know if you could bring that up, Jack, in the folder for Leapfrog, but the there's the game rules, there's the score sheet, there's the comments document, but then I also added in a players meeting for Leapfrog that I did as a video, and then I also added in a drone shot of actual gameplay so you could see that, and it has a score sheet at the end of that being played, so you can actually kind of see the whole thing. If you're going to try to run this game, you can get a good sense of what it looks like in actual play.
You want me to pull up the score sheet or anything?
Sure.
It's cool. You did all this groundwork. It's great.
Yeah.
That was part of the work, Dre. They were all
Yeah,
everybody
did it. It looks great.
It was pretty easy. I had all this stuff kind of made already because we've been playing this game a little bit in MMDDC and at a couple of our events already. So yeah, here's the score sheet. It's pretty normal like any other score sheet. The idea is that you just mark each zone as they're successfully making the catch. So you can just circle the number. So you just circle the 1, you circle the 5, you circle the 3, and then that becomes closed. So that helps you track as you're scoring. And then there's 2 boards on here. No one's cleared 2 boards yet, although I kind of think it's possible, which sounds really wild to say, but I think it might be possible if somebody is a really fast runner.
Has anyone gotten gassed out?
Oh yeah, it is
like
a lot
just
of
been
running.
like, all right, yeah. I'm out. I ran too hard.
No one's stopped yet, but people have slowed down. And then yeah, just a little spot for the sweet spot for that circle at the end. So and then there's
when you're calling out these ones, Ben, like I can see the 5-3-5 being relatively like you could say, well, you need the 5 on the other side, if they're over here or whatever. With the ones, do you find like has there been like a nomenclature that you use to let them know like, well, which one do I need?
Not really yet. I kind of the close zones take care of it, and that's where it's like a little more intuitive than it seems, because once you close the one of the 1 zones on the horizontal line coming out of the start, which is where people typically start going,
Here?
to the left.
Here.
Yeah, like that 1 zone. Yep. Then it's just the vertical ones. So you kind of like lock out the 1 zone, the 1 point zone that would be the confusing one. It's already kind of taken off the board automatically at the beginning, and so then it's just kind of throw to anything over there. And yeah, I don't know, it's tricky because it sounds more confusing than it actually ends up being in gameplay, surprisingly. I actually was kind of like really worried about that when I first wrote the game down, and then I got a little I was surprised at actually how intuitive it is. So yeah.
All right. Well, everybody listening, you should give Leapfrog give it a shot at your next event. Beta test it, and then if you happen to see, we mentioned this on our previous podcast about things. If I can find I think I have to close this out to show it.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yep. Go back to.
But when you're in the Leapfrog folder, you'll also notice that there is a feedback sheet right here. So if you play it and you love it, let Ben know. If you play it and you've got a question, let Ben know. Part of the beta testing process is being able to let the game creators know if there's something that comes up that you're not sure how to handle, or if maybe you have an idea and your group thought, you know what, if we added this little tweak here, it might make this game even better. Let Ben know those things. and we're talking about Ben right now, but any of the games have this feedback document in there, and the creator has an opportunity then to take a look at your feedback and give you a response if it requires one.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just say one thing before we maybe switch over to the other one, which is just a shout out and a thanks to Roxanne and Seven, who are helped me kind of get this game off the ground. I was really thinking about them in particular when I made this game and that dog engagement. And then thanks to Jess for helping me come up with the name, which is fun. And of course, Minnesota Club, testing everything and playing a bunch. It's been super fun. So
cool.
You want to talk about the other one?
Yeah. Let's switch gears. We'll bring up the other
Round the
game
corner.
game view here on the rules document.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yep, perfect. So this one allows 6 discs, 60 seconds, and it can be played on the small 3x3 field where the last one was a full game field.
Yep. Yeah, this one's only on the 3x3. The Leapfrog is only on the big field.
And this is a moving game too, right? Like the outside shapes are throw zones that rotate, which again, definitely love that. I love anything that gets our players moving a bit more. This one has more moving than the last one though.
Yes. This one's
or further moving, let's say. It requires you actually like go 15 yards, well, actually 20, because the middle is going to be a 10-yard zone. So 20-yard zone across, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. We're getting our steps with this one.
For sure. Yep. Yeah, so this one, a similar kind of thought process. I was thinking about how do you get people moving across the field? How are we making kind of these different kinds of engagements with the dog, and this one in particular, I was thinking about disc management. So how do you pick up discs as you're moving along the field? So that's part of the reason why it's 6 discs and not more is I wanted you to have to pick up discs as you're going, as you're moving along the field. So the way that this game works is and this diagram looks really intense. And I think it's a lot more intuitive when you actually start to play it. But basically, each of these kind of hexagons on the outside of the field are throw zones. So you could think about each strip of the field, each of the 3x3, the one zone strips as being a single kind of strip for playing, and the throw zone is at the edge. So essentially each strip becomes kind of like a mini time warp. So you start in throw zone 1, which is this red one right here at the bottom, and then you throw out to these 3 zones straight in front of you, so the 2, 3, 5, and you have to get 1 catch in one of those 3 zones before you move on to the next throw zone. So it's a little bit like greedy in that way. And then, you'd move up to the throw zone 2, and then you'd have the same kind of throw for the 2, 3, 5. And you can see that there's a pattern here, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 5. But then you get to throw zone 3, you get your 2, 3, 5, and then you go around the corner, which is where the name of the game comes. So instead of running all the way across the field, you just go right to the edge of the corner. And then the points change dramatically as you keep moving through the field. So this is one of the places where I think there's some pretty interesting strategies about where do you try to throw for all 3 zones to get the most points, and where do you kind of throw
save time
from a throw zone just to kind of keep moving forward keep progressing through the field. And it goes all the way up through 12 throw zones. So I don't even know if that's possible. I think the most anybody's gotten to is like throw zone 5, maybe 6, something like that. And I really I was originally kind of thinking about this as like a kind of pseudo greedy level 2, but instead of being like punishing, like, getting Scrooged, I wanted to go the opposite direction and kind of reward you for completing the strips. So if you get one
now wait a minute, that was disparaging towards greedy. Greedy is very
I love greedy. It's my favorite. It's my
Greedy is
absolute.
rewarding we're rewarding you for getting the sweet spot. It's all a matter of
And
how
for
you
not being
look at it.
greedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you can ask my other club members about me and greedy, and you can see my scores going like pew,
Yeah.
pew, up and down. I like to be
Go ahead.
greedy.
I'm sorry. I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, it's fine.
I have a random
Um,
question. Why
yeah.
is T9 blue instead of purple?
It's progressing from red to purple. It's a gradient.
It
Like,
is?
yeah, throw
Okay,
zone
because
one.
on all the other ones, the triangles of the throws are all the same color, and that's the only one that isn't matching with its triangle. So like T4, 5, and 6 all match. T7, 8, and 9 doesn't match, and then T12, 11, and 10 all
I
match.
I don't. I
They,
think it's just
they,
the
I didn't know if
automatic.
if there was something strange or special about
No,
T9
no. I
because
think
I'm
it's
a
just
pattern person, so I was like trying to make
it,
sense of the score sheet,
it's
and I'm
just
like,
I
part of
can
the
tell
gradient.
yeah, I
Yeah,
can tell on my screen that they're gradients. They're not the same.
yeah.
oh,
It
okay,
just
mine
it's
just
just where
looks
it
like solid
crosses
color.
over from mostly red to mostly purple.
Okay, got it. And that's it around the corner. Yeah. It
Yep.
helps me to see the score. At first, when I first looked at this yesterday when Jack sent it over to me, I just saw a bunch of colors and the numbers are what clarified it for me, like the
Mhm.
outside numbers. But if
Yep.
I look at this now, the colors help because I can see that the I'm trying to find the order of numbers, right? The throw
Yep.
zones that I'm throwing, and I can see that there's a triangle on each side. So
Yep.
kind of like on each side, you're going from right across and then left.
Yep. Yeah. So
Right
you
across
go
left, right
diagonal
across
up,
left.
down, over, diagonal. Yep. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're basically working your way in a triangle across the field each
So
time.
it's not real like you were saying, it is intuitive once you realize that there's the same pattern all the way across. It's not like the numbers on
Yeah.
the outside are random and you have to try and remember
No,
what
no,
numbers they are. You're just running triangles across.
yep, it's a
So
pattern
so we
for sure.
don't need to spray paint 12 hexagons on the field.
Nope, you do not.
Oh, flat cones.
We have when we've run this, we put nothing for the throw zones.
I
It's
figured.
again pretty intuitive. Yeah, yeah. Um, what I was going to say about the strips though is I really wanted to reward people for thinking about where do I clear a strip and where do I just make one throw in that zone and progress
Right.
on and
Like
think
you could
about
just make a
strategy.
5 throw and not waste your time on the 2 or the 3 and then focus on
But
getting the just the
yep,
5s and the 3s.
yep.
Because wasn't
But
there
if
one
you
strip that was just 2s or there's one that was
But don't
lower? I
forget
remember
your
looking
bonus. You get a bonus, of extra bonus of
for
two,
clearing
Dre.
the strip. But how
yeah,
much do you
right. So
get for clearing it?
if you clear a strip, you get an extra bonus of 2 points. If you get the 2, 3, 5 from throw zone one, for
That
example,
makes it a 2-4, a 5-4-3 then
right,
with the bonus.
exactly. So you get an extra 2 points of
Or a
bonus.
5-3-4.
It could be a
Yeah,
five three
yeah,
four
yeah.
also.
However you want to think about adding 2 points to
My
that.
brain is like,
A 7-3-2, yeah. Um, you get those two extra bonus points, but you don't have to go for them. So that's where I think there's a little bit of interesting strategy or
yeah.
something that could emerge from this game.
Yeah,
That
because like T6 is a 5-2-5, but T11 is just a 3-3-3.
exactly.
So I
So it's
wouldn't spend my time on
like
that.
how do I so in a way of like greedy and thinking about like how do I push myself or how do I push my luck? Like do I throw for all the 5 zones at the very beginning and then kind of quickly work my way through the rest of greedy, or do I take my time in different places? This has that same kind of mentality where it's a little bit like where do I spend my time?
Well,
And you
it
got
probably
when
matters
you're
how
running
fast
too,
you are.
right?
Yeah, because I mean, you
Yep.
have to clear 20 yards each time. So if you're really
Yeah.
slow,
If
takes
you're
you
if
time
you're quick
to
and you've
score as
got
many
the
zones.
time warp dog that does, if you're Zach Perlmutter and your
Yep.
dog does time warp in 9 seconds,
Yep.
then you could probably, let's see, you could get 6 zones in the 1, 2, 3, right? Six columns
Yep.
or,
If you
or
can run
rows.
across the field that fast.
Well,
But see
yeah,
that Zach would have
he's
to
gonna
cross
have to
the
work
field
on
in
his
20
wind
yards.
sprints.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, this one definitely has gas some folks. There is a sweet spot for this one too, which is throwing for the sweet spot zone. Throw before the tee and time, catch after the tee and time, and for that one specific throw, the sweet spot zone is available. So you can go for that at the end.
So the only way to score the sweet spot is to throw into it, or is there a passive one?
Nope, just to throw into it.
So does that have to be? I read this all last night, but what is it again for the sweet spot? I have to have the last throw be in the sweet spot.
Yeah. Let me pull this up again just to make sure I'm getting.
Oh, I have.
This is the same thing where I've got like, I've had a few different versions of it.
Sweet spot bonus.
Yeah.
Throwing from any line, a throw released before the tee and time, but caught after the tee and time within the sweet spot bonus scores 10 points.
Yeah.
All right. So it has to be caught after the tee and time.
Yep.
Yeah, I would wait. I would just sit on the sideline and wait for that thing. That's a 10-point throw. That's worth 2 other zones. That's 20 yards back and forth of running.
Yep.
And I can throw it from anywhere, which is interesting.
Anywhere.
As long as I'm on the outside of the 3x3 grid.
The sweet spot throws.
It has to be from your current. It has to be from your current throw zone. So wherever you're supposed to be at right now.
Oh, well, this says throwing from any throwing line.
Oh, yeah. I guess that could be clarified, because what I really mean by that is like, you don't have to run
to a certain spot.
Throw zone 1, or you don't have like, so say you have made it all the way through to like throw zone 4, throwing line number 4. You can throw for the sweet spot from throwing line number 4. And what's that?
I was just gonna say I kind of like the way it reads. Like if you exhaust all your discs, you don't have any discs left, and then at the last second you race over to grab a disc. All you gotta do is hop back over the line, right, to make that throw. I don't know. It's your game. You decide. But the way I read it, I was like, oh, that could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine that being a big roller to the sweet spot type of shot, because it's like, it sounds just like a sugar rush.
Yeah, it's a similar kind of thing. It's like a sweet spot for throw and go, the active throw and go.
Active sweet spot. Yep.
Yeah, the judge is gonna have to keep an eye on the thrower, make sure they throw it before the tee and time.
Yep, for sure.
And we definitely shouldn't put this game last at the end of the day, because no one will be able to run it by then. Yeah, maybe start it with that. Wake everybody up in the morning. Yep. Go run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this one. It's definitely more physical action.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see what people think about the amount of running it requires.
Yeah,
we have some ideas for achievements here. Looks like cornered, 90 degrees, cross cut, zigzag sprints. So that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the things that's really interesting about this game is, you make your throws for the strip, and then you watching people run across and pick up their discs along the way. That's one of the kind of cool things, and then make the next throws. I think it could even be reduced down to like 4 discs or 3 discs potentially, if you really wanted to be like a little more punishing about it. But I think 6 is more realistic.
For all the amount of running, I would think so. Yeah, I don't think everybody's going to want to run all over the field to pick up their discs.
Yep. Yeah, Jack, if you bring up the score sheet, maybe that's like another view that folks can see to just see it with the numbers, because that one just has it's a little more bare bones too. And maybe while you're doing this, I'll just say same kind of thing as with Leapfrog. I put a couple more things in the folder here. There is a folder of example score sheets. I forgot to say that I put that in Leapfrog too, just photographs of score sheets that we did from when we've been beta testing. And then there's a video, a drone video of playing the game, so you can watch that. But yeah,
I will say that I've read through a lot of I've read through all of the beta games, and Ben has done a really nice job of being very clear on his rules. All of the components are there, very clearly laid out. So definitely give these 2 games a try. Ben's put in a lot of work to make it easy for you guys to try them out.
What's the +2 on the outside?
So those are the throw zones. Oh, the +2, that's for scoring. So if they get the strip, you circle.
Oh, that's a 2-point bonus for the strip. Got it.
Yep. So that I have that on each one so that you can really quickly just circle that and you know that they've got that +2 for the strip. And then the other thing that's here, and again, this sounds like maybe harder than it actually is, but circling the throw zones that they've made it to. So you can see that on the bottom one, that's throw zone or throw line number 1, that's already circled because everybody starts there. And then you'd circle 2, you'd circle 3, you'd circle 4. And that for me was a way of doing tiebreakers. So whoever gets the furthest down the field ends up being a tiebreaker. And
which would be a strategy too for whether you finish the row or not.
Right. Yep. Totally. And then you've got those +2 on the outsides, which would be for if you've completed the bonus points there. So maybe that's an easier field view for folks to look at. I'm not sure. Different people want to look at different things, so it's good. Yeah.
This is I'm probably the only person that was confused by this, Ben, so I'm only sharing just depending on your wording. So like from a mathematical perspective, when looking at a grid, the convention that people use to communicate about them is rows go across, columns go up and down.
Yep.
And so when I was reading through the rules, initially you were using the term row, and it was making me look across, but you were actually talking about this column.
Yeah.
And so it took me, I don't know, a minute to figure it out. I read it back again. So I just didn't know if like you wanted, I hear you saying strips a lot during this conversation, and maybe that's the way to go, because then I think
so. Yeah.
You can just call it that and it doesn't mean across or up or down. It's just the one that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just sometimes the wording like that it threw me off for a little bit. I figured it out obviously, but
yep.
I don't know, just something to think about.
Strip is definitely a better word than row or column because it doesn't have that orientation to it. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you wanted to talk about a specific one, then you could use row or column. Like in that, like when you first started off, I think you were talking about the 2-3-5. Well, yeah, you were talking about the 2-3-5 from throw zone 1. And then I was like, well, wait, are we throwing across 2-5-2 or 2-3-5?
Yeah.
Because you said 2-3-5, but you had said row, and that's what threw me off. So, but again, I figured it out easy enough, but it might be worth going back and just making sure everything's consistent.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And that's maybe an important like rules clarification too. And it's in the rules, but when you're throwing from the throw line number 1, for example, only the 2-3-5 are open. None of the others are open. It's just that strip that's immediately in front of you from each throw zone. So when you get to throwing line number 2, then it's the 2-3-5 going the other direction because it's this triangle shape. And then from 3, it's the 2-3-5 going the other direction. And then from the 4, it would be 2-5-2. From the 5, it's 3-3-3. Yeah. So it's just that one strip that's directly in front of you is, so it's a little time warpy like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
yeah, they're fun games.
I'd be interested to play this one and see how much movement's really involved. It sounds exciting.
Yeah.
I like movement games.
I will say, like, from our beta testing so far, a lot of folks have been trying to clear the strips. And I'm really curious to see somebody just try to kind of push it and see how far they can get down the throw lines and into these different throw zones. Like, I don't even know.
Maybe that could be like a little
could be an achievement.
An achievement, or even an award at a local or something.
Totally. Yep.
Like who gets furthest down the field, and I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a catchy name for it dealing with frogs.
This one's not frogs.
Oh wait, that's
around the corner.
Yeah, something with.
I know that Leapfrog game is solid, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is
we
really.
need to work on that. We need to figure out like what. what kind of things, what other things go with round the corner? Like you got to think of something here that would get us further down the road. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something about further down the road or down the trail or I don't know. I don't know.
Riding into the sunset.
I was thinking that because you had said you wanted people to test and push the game a little bit more and not necessarily consider the zones, I would say, like, let's say you got those flat cones you were talking about, right? Instead of painting the field so much, let's say you got different colored flat cones. It might be cool to put like red where the fives are, and then like green where the threes are, and then like blue where the twos are. So when you get to each, because I can see understanding intuitively where the throwing zones are, but it's going to be pretty tricky when you're running those zones to intuitively know what the scoring zone values are. And
Yeah,
if you
no,
to push it down the field,
yep,
they're going to only want to hit the highest value
yep,
zones. So we need a faster way, I would think, to communicate where the 5 point zones are and the 3 point zones are to make it worth it for them to try because they're not going to be able to memorize that. I don't
yeah.
think with orientation
Not for the
changes like
first,
that.
yeah, not for the first couple plays, and I think that's where the strategy of like the game over a more long term of
Yeah.
play where
Yeah,
it's
you're
like
supposed to go home and analyze the board, Dre, and come in with a strategy, right? Yeah.
yeah.
I'm a doer, not a thinker.
Um, but yeah, uh, I'm just very curious about this one because like Leapfrog, I have some more kind of there's been more play testing with it, and I kind of there's some things have
More
already
data.
emerged, but this one is really up in the air and it hasn't been pushed yet. So yeah, definitely go out there and try to break it. I'm really curious.
Yes,
I
it's
mean,
really fun.
that's what this is all about. That's what beta
Yeah.
testing is about. Um, Very rarely do you come up with something conceptually and then take it out to the field and not make tweaks to it because, you got to go out and try to break
Oh
it
yeah.
like Ben.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
And
Yeah, I
even
like
even
both of them.
even when you beta test it with a smaller group and then you go, all right, it's ready to go, and you put it out there to the larger updog community, then it's like you get feedback you never even thought of or whatever. So all right, well,
yeah.
Ben, thank you very much for as I've shared with you guys on email, I really do appreciate you guys sharing your time and talents with the community. I really, again, if you play these games, even if you loved it and everything went great, just go to the drive or hop on Facebook or whatever and send the creator just a little kudos. That I'm sure that means a lot. I
Yeah.
know anytime I developed a game and somebody said, "Ooh, I really like Greedy," or "I really like this game," or whatever, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like your time and your brain energy was put to good use, and people are enjoying it on the field. So definitely reach out to the creators and let them know what you think.
Yeah.
Ben, I know you've been on the podcast before and you've done the Time Warp Challenge already.
I have.
So I wanted to do something a little bit different. Dre doesn't even know about this.
I
Okay.
don't.
But actually here, let me stop sharing so that people can actually see us and not the field view or the rules document there. But
Yeah.
I know that for the game of Leapfrog, you must have done a lot of research about frogs.
Yep. A
And
ton.
and so I have some questions for you. These are really quick questions. You're going to
Okay.
try to go through them again quickly. And
Great.
we're going to see if Ben, with all the research that he did on frogs for the game Leapfrog, um, can he answer at least the majority of these questions correct? Okay. And Dre, I guess you're on your own to think what would your responses be.
All
And
right.
then we'll see who knows more, Ben with all of his research or
How
Dre
about
with no
frogs?
research at
No
all.
research at all.
All right. You ready? This question is for both of
I'm
you
ready.
guys. Who were here first, frogs or dinosaurs?
Uh, Frogs.
All right. Dre says dinosaurs. Ben says frogs. The answer is that scientists believe that they coexisted at the same time, and they are
Oh,
not
trick
Question.
question.
first.
Trick
All
question.
right. So you guys are all right down the
Right.
middle, still even
Right down the
Steven.
middle.
All
Yep.
right. Are toads frogs?
No.
For toads.
Yes, they are frogs.
Oh,
Oh, this is
The
a
only
square
the only
rectangle
thing that
situation.
the only thing that differentiates toads from frogs are their skin. But they are still frogs. They are a type of frog,
a type of
according
frog.
to
Okay, so frogs like the upper category, and toads is a
right.
subcategory of a frog. Okay, fair enough.
Yep. All
I
right.
can believe it.
Good news is you guys are still even,
Still
Steven.
even.
All right. Uh, how long can frogs live for? How many years?
20,
Year?
All right.
22
Ben says
years.
20,
22.
Oh God. I
22.
was thinking 2 or 3.
All right, Ben, the point goes to you. The answer is up to 20 plus years.
Oh, yes.
Really?
I
All
was
right,
like, there's got to
Ben,
be an
Pet frogs
outlier
that
frog
long?
that lives a
In the
long time.
wild, they live that long?
this is in an old
Fascinating.
folks home.
Oh,
Old
that makes
folks
way more
frog
sense.
home.
Nurtured frogs live over 20 years. I was like, some bird's gonna be picking up that 20-year-old frog and eating it. I know. There's no way it's living 20 years.
All right, Ben is currently in the lead with 1 point.
That's a good thing.
All right, true or false? Frogs were the first animals with vocal cords.
True.
False.
Okay, Ben says false. Dre says true. Dre, you are
Yeah.
correct.
He would only ask
Uh,
that question if it was a fun fact. That was way too random. I only
All
knew
right,
yes
yes.
because that's Jack.
You guys are back even, and we are headed into the second part. This is now that we're going downhill. We got 4 questions left. We'll see who can
All right.
pull ahead here. Come on, Ben. You got all that research behind you.
Yep. All right. Got to dig deep into the
Dig deep.
back
All right.
back storage, brain storage.
Complete this sentence. Frogs can jump up to blank times their body length.
30.
20.
Dre hitting it on the nose. 20 is the correct answer. All right. So you were even, right? Now Dre's ahead with no
I'm a
research.
slight lead.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. All right. Next question. What makes poison dart frogs poisonous?
There's an oil
Like,
release
what creates their poison?
It's something that they eat.
I think
Ben
it just out
is
of their
correct.
skin. Yeah.
It is something that they eat. They eat poisonous insects and mites, which causes them to have the poison.
Good research,
on their
Ben.
skin. All right. Ben is back. All right. You guys are dead even now with 2 questions to go. Next question. Can frogs live in salt water?
Like,
I'm not sure I've ever seen frogs around an ocean or maybe brackish water, which is kind of salty. Do you mean like ocean salt or
It says salt water, so it could be brackish water.
I would
I would
say,
say-
like, yeah. Sure.
All right. You both said yes.
Yeah.
You are both correct.
Yay! Brackish water for the win.
Are you guys even still?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna
all
finish
right.
strong, Ben. Me and you. Let's
And
go.
by the
Yeah.
way, they gave an example of one frog that can live in salt water, which is the Florida leopard frog, which I don't know and know what that is, but being that I live in Florida, I should go out and meet some.
Go find
All
some.
right. And find some. Yeah. All right. Last question. So you guys could finish in a dead heat, or one of you guys could pull ahead here and be declared
The winner
the
of the frog game.
exactly this new game for the sweet spot that's
I have
taking-
butterflies. I'm very excited. I haven't
taking
won
the
anything in a
nation
while.
by storm.
Let's do
All
it.
right. The Australian water holding frog. Oh, sorry. Complete this sentence. This is a complete the sentence question.
Oh,
The Australian water holding frog is a desert dweller that can wait up to blank years for rain to drink.
5.
2.
Ben is the winner.
Oh!
All of the research finally pulls him ahead.
Yep.
The correct answer is 5 to 7 years they can wait without having water. Isn't that crazy?
Wow!
Is that like a I saw a thing about like some fish that like live in desert pools, and then they get all dried out, and then they get covered in mud, and then they just sort of like sit there for years until it rains again, and then they can come up.
Your research has paid off, Ben. I've even been to Australia and I didn't know about frogs living. I did meet an Australian frog. They made it very important that I got to meet that Australian frog. It just looked like a frog. But I didn't know they could live 5 years. That's really crazy without water. Wow.
Well, like Ben said, maybe it's something where they kind of like go into some sort of like hibernation mode almost.
Yeah.
Like you hear about those animals that get frozen in the Arctic, and then they basically don't even do, and they're just in hibernation mode, sort of, if it's called that. I don't know what it's called. And it could be years before the ice melts, like depending upon how the seasons go. But then when the ice melts, they come alive again.
Wake up.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I learned so much about frogs today.
Go play everybody else's games, because there's some really fun games in there. We put together a little get together with our club, and we tried out, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 games or something, and there's some really fun stuff in there. So definitely,
there is.
All the games out. Yeah.
Have you guys tried the piggy one?
We did not try the piggy one, but it was on our list.
I had to read through it like twice, because the first time I read it, I'm like, I am totally confused. I still don't know what I'm supposed to do here. And I read it again, and I looked at the examples, and then I was like, as I started reading it, the more I read it, I was like, wait a minute, there's some really cool strategies here that could occur. But that one, I was like, I want to try this one out. I mean, there's a ton I want to try out, but that was one that, like I said, when I first read it, I was like, I'm confused. Pigpen, that's it.
Yeah.
Look at all these cool titles here. Treasure Run, Hoops and Cat Sequences, Ticky Tacky Toe, Throwdown. I'm just reading off some of them. Reverse and Go was a really interesting concept. Knock 'em Out. You got a bunch of cool games to try here, guys. It's going to be really hard trying to figure out which one of these becomes our next Updog game, and we might end up with multiple. Who knows?
Multiple ones.
I think one of the fan favorites from our crew was Fast Lane. That's an agility game.
Oh, okay.
That was definitely a fan fave.
I think that was Ro Galt put that one together. I think he's trying to get on the
we
podcast.
Talked about that one on the last podcast, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Well, Ben, thank you very much for your time, both in creating the game and coming on here and discussing frog facts with us.
Yep. Anytime you want to talk about frog facts, I'm ready.
All right. Get out there, guys. Play Round the Corner. Play Leapfrog. Let Ben know what you think of the games. And, of course, as you know, we want you guys to be enjoying Updog. So hopefully you're getting out there with some decent weather, not crazy hot weather. It's been
early in the morning.
Some places, yeah. So get out there on an Updog field soon. In the meantime, Dre,
be kind to yourself and be kind to each other.
And be kind to your animals. We'll see you next time on The Sweet Spot.
Up dog, go round dog, run down the field dog, make the catch it, bring it back and put it in my hand dog. Up dog, go round dog, run down the field dog, I throw you go and make the catch, oh what a great big thrill dog. 60 seconds some pot, the points are adding up, dog. I make the throw, you get the catch, oh, all folks go wild, dog. Up, dog, go round, dog. Now the countdown started, dog. I throw, you go, the disc is flying high down the field, dog. You take a leap, the catch is made, you land right in the sweet spot. Up, dog, go round, dog. Tell all your friends, dog. There is no better disc group in the land. Always be kind to each other, dog, and be kind to your animals, my friend.